and welcome everyone. This is our first ever virtual town hall in the Honors College. And so thank you for putting up with this strange kind of format, but I'm very excited that all of you joined us and had questions for us, and we're gonna do our best to answer those questions. So as Dominic said, I am Sylvia Torti and I'm Dean of the Honors College. And we are really excited that you're going to be joining us this fall to start embarking on your college education and specifically your honors education. So I thought I would say a few words about that, and then I'll talk about how we're going to organize the call, and then I'll start answering your specific questions. But one of the questions that actually a number of you asked in the questions you filled out was essentially, what is an honors education? The Honors College is really a curriculum and a community in the truest sense of those words. So we are a liberal arts and sciences college nested within a big research university. And so in many senses, you can take advantage of the best of both worlds. An honors education founded or as a foundation in the liberal arts gives you the skills to be a big thinker, gives you the skills to take on smart risks, to develop your sense of values and ethics, and to be engaged citizens for the rest of your life. One of you asked, of other students, how much does honors give you versus take things away from your time in your major or take away from your focus in your major? And I will say that I have never heard a student say that their honors education took anything away from them, only the opposite. I will say that the students who get the most out of the Honors College are the students who get engaged early on and get involved with different groups within the Honors College, take classes, make their voice heard to the college. So you're all entering college at a really unique time for sure. This is not the first pandemic that the human species has dealt with. It is not our last, but for all of us, we've never had this experience in our own lifetime, so we can look back into history and perhaps learn a little bit more. But we haven't dealt with something like this on this scale, any of us. So it is extremely frustrating. It's kind of crazy that a small invisible virus has upended our normal activities and ways of being, and in some ways that might be a kind of humbling state of affairs. But in many ways, the COVID pandemic, as well as the pandemic that we also know as systemic racism, have brought to light questions that are really central to an honors education. It's questions like, who am I? From what history and which systems have I inherited my culture, my identity? What are my responsibilities to others? What are my responsibilities to the community? How should we be structuring our laws and government in order to fulfill our social obligations? Questions like, how do I, as an individual person, use my talents for more than just my own good and my own career, but rather the common good? And in fact, I was pleased to see that one of you asked just that. One of you wrote, quote, "What role does the university play in creating the world we want to live in? What role do we each play individually?" And so that is exactly the kinds of questions you will be asking during your time in college, and particularly in the Honors College. I think there are big lessons to be learned, and as an honors community, we're excited that you'll be embarking on this journey with us. We'll be asking these specific questions in our intellectual traditions courses, in our writing courses, in our praxis labs, should you decide to take one in a future year, and in our mandatory Honor 1000 course, which you'll hear a little bit more about in a moment. I'd like to say that we have been working as a faculty and a staff all summer to talk about the fall, to talk about the unique situation, and I can tell you that our faculty are absolutely dedicated to make sure this year, however it plays out, is a very high quality experience for you. So with that, I'll introduce the others from the college who are on the call. Associate Dean Monisha Pasupati is here, and we'll be speaking about Honors 1000 in a moment. Assistant Dean Patricia Rower and faculty member for Intellectual Traditions is here on the call. Aaron Reynolds is the Director of Curriculum and Advising, and he'll be speaking to some of your questions that are specific about courses. Jennifer Weissman, who is our Director of Admissions and Housing and Living Learning Communities, She'll say a few words, and then Dominic Walker Pecoraro is on the call as well. So I'm going to answer some of your questions. And like I said, Jennifer will speak about housing. Monisha will talk briefly about Honor 1000, the 1 credit course that you will all be enrolled in this fall. And then finally, Aaron will address questions regarding curriculum, advising, and how to sign up for courses. At any time, if you have questions, as Dominic said, don't hesitate to put those in the chat and we will get to those at the end. But these are answers to the questions that you have sent to us. So the first question is, what should I be doing right now as an incoming student? Please give me general advice and information as a student starting this fall. So I would say the first piece of advice is if you haven't already signed up for an orientation, you need to do so. That is the way that you will learn more about the university, about the Honors College, about the curriculum, and after you complete your orientation, you'll be able to sign up for classes. It is really important that you read your University of Utah email. All correspondence from the university will be sent to that email address, and so that's where you can find and communicate with us. I'd encourage you to sign up for our Instagram. If you use Instagram, that is a place where we regularly push out information, and I think Dominic will put the Instagram handle in the chat. And then finally, look for your summer reading books. We have ordered those books. They took a little longer to arrive, but we'll be reading The 5th Season as a College by N.K. Jemisin. And those books are being mailed right now. And if you do not receive them by July 3rd, please do contact us. But all of you should be receiving your summer reading book by July 3rd. And we're very excited about the conversations we're going to have around that novel. Another question. What can I expect this fall in terms of health and safety? I can tell you that the university has been working very, very hard to think through all of the implications of having and inviting 27,000 undergraduates and some 8,000 graduate students back to campus this fall. We will be holding classes in person, albeit with some changes. As you've all probably noticed, the schedule for fall is a little different. So we'll be starting classes on August 24th and going straight through with no fall break and ending our in-person classes before Thanksgiving. And so the semester will end a little bit earlier than it normally does. And that idea there is to get us off of campus before flu season really picks up. Because we think there could be a higher chance of virus exposure then. As students, you will have the option to take classes in person. You will also have the option to take classes online. And that's true for both the Honors College as well as other departments and majors across campus. In-person classes will be held in large rooms where we can maintain 6 feet of distance, and masks will be required of everyone in the classroom at all times. Many of our small classes in honors will be held in person, and our faculty, I can tell you, are very keen on the interpersonal and being in the classroom with you. So we are trying to maintain that whenever possible. All that said, I think we all need to recognize the need for flexibility, depending on how the virus behaves, which will depend in large part on how we behave in terms of using masks in public places and decreasing the spread of the virus. Those things will influence, what happens through the fall semester. And so we might need to make adjustments on how we teach and how we learn over the next number of months. Okay, another question. How do I go through an honors degree? And how does honors work with business, with engineering, with LEAP? So I got many iterations of this question. And for now, I just want your take-home message to include 2 points. The honors program, the honors courses, they work with every single major. We have students majoring in 40, 50, 60 different majors at any given time. The way you move through your honors degree will vary depending on you as an individual, as well as your degree, what you're studying. In Honor 1000, which you will all be signed up for this fall, that Monisha will be talking a little bit about in a moment, As part of that, you will complete a 4-year plan on which you'll map out your major. If you don't have a major and you're exploring, that's absolutely fine. You will just pick a major you're potentially interested in, and you'll map this major out along with your honors courses, any study abroad you might want to do, an internship. You'll map out your thesis work in terms of timing, not necessarily what you'll do your thesis on, but in terms of timing of when you work on this. So at this point, please know that many of your specific questions about your path through honors will be answered through your experiences and your educational coursework this fall. I was also asked, what are praxis labs? Praxis labs are a way for you to fulfill your honors electives. They're year-long courses that include a theory portion where you learn about a topic, and then there's a practice portion or a praxis portion where you apply what you've learned. We run 3 praxis labs per year, generally around the themes of energy and environment, or around themes of health, or around themes of social policy, social justice. And so those are available to you not as incoming freshmen, but as upperclassmen. And you can apply for those towards the end of your freshman year. You can apply to participate in one in your sophomore year or junior year or senior year. The topics change every year, and so you'll be given information around January, February next year on the following year's praxis labs. Some of you also asked about honors pathways and study abroad, particularly with regard to COVID. There are honors pathways that you can choose to take, and you fulfill your coursework through these pathways. There's one related to the environment and ecology called Ecology and Legacy. There's another one related to health, currently called Health in Context. These opportunities do include, for the most part, study abroad. The Ecology and Legacy Utah is based here in Utah. The others include study abroad. We are planning that those will happen in next spring and summer. We will have to reconvene and keep our eyes out and watch in the next few months to see how things develop. But at this point, I can tell you that on our end, we're doing the paperwork and the planning and the curriculum development and all of that for those pathways to go to Tanzania next summer, to go to Argentina, to go to Ghana. And we're really excited about that. So currently, those are opportunities you should explore. Those are the large questions that were sent that I felt like I could answer pretty easily. I'm going to now ask Jennifer to speak a little bit about the housing and a couple of your housing questions. And then after that, we will move to Monisha talking about Honor 1000 that you'll all take this fall. Jennifer?
Thank you. So just to re-clarify, honors students do not have to live on campus like any other incoming student. You are not required to live on campus. And if you're an honors student, any spot on campus is open to you that's open to first-year students. You don't have to specifically live with honors. So if you have a room that's not tagged as an honors room, or if you're planning to live off campus or commute, that's fine too. It's wonderful to live on campus, and it's wonderful to live with us. And the questions that we got were pretty specific to honors housing. As members of the honors program, do we automatically get honors housing if we apply to housing? So that one is a no. There are limited spots tagged as honors spots. There are 2 floors in the Collard Village building in each of those 3 themed towers that are specific to honors housing. There's a floor specific to honors in one of the Sage Point buildings. And then we do have some upper division housing tagged as honors spots. But you would have in your application indicated an interest in honors, and then we would do our best to find you an honors spot based on that preference. But wherever you are right now, you can still be a healthy, happy, involved honors student progressing toward that honors degree with honors or not. If you are specifically living with honors in one of our first year spots, you all will be taking that Honors 1000 course. There will be a hybrid version to that where you'll meet in small groups with excellent honor students who are peer mentors, and you'll have some get-togethers that way. If you're living in Collard Village, you also are in a tower, and your tower has a theme. There's programming and events specific to that too that you can elect to participate in. And then in the spring, you'd take an honors colloquium class that's specific to honors students living with honors, and have some programming events outside of the classroom, excursions and experiences wrapped around that too, where you'd be in the smaller groups of students. And then let me see. How will the cohorts work? I think I said that. We'll be spending time together and doing activities outside the dorms. Yes. My main question at this time is regarding the specifics of what Collard Housing Village will be like. So Collard Village is that new 1,000 person building that's got the 3 towers. Each tower is themed. There's a community service tower, a STEM tower, and a health related tower. If you're in any of those towers, you could participate in programmings in a tower that you're not in. If you're in the honors space, you're not necessarily tied and beholden to the specific theme of your tower. But that building is an opportunity to connect around some themed events that the building might host. But the building is designed to be close to your classrooms. They've got the eating space in there. And if you've read the emails from housing, you'll see that there are even sort of COVID precautions that they're taking around eating. So you'll still be able to eat in that space, or order your meal and take it to go. There are classrooms in that space, and they're practicing social distancing with all of the rules and scheduling in that building too. But that building is like your one-stop shop for a lot of things: classrooms, eating, gathering places, your rooms, bathrooms, etc. And it's a mix of honors and non-honors students. Even there will be honors students in the non-honors spots and all honors students in the honors spots. So you'll be around a lot of other engaged, excited to be here students. I think that did it.
Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, and now I'd like to have Monisha talk a little bit about the Honor 1000 course that you'll all take. It's a mandatory course for every incoming student. That's 1 credit, and she'll talk a little bit about why we developed this course and what we hope you'll learn from it.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I'm really happy that you're going to join us in the fall. It's going to be, it's different times, as Dean Forty said, but I think it's going to be interesting and fun anyway. So the history of Honor 1000 is kind of interesting because it actually developed as a student-initiated idea, and from a couple different streams. So we held a town hall like this one, but an in-person town hall, and students expressed some sense that they wish they had a kind of introduction to the honors program that was a little more spread out and less condensed, because orientation can pack a lot of information into one tiny space. And also we had some of our more senior students express the desire to have a place to think about the meaning of honors education and sort of the way they want to use their college years to shape their path and their identity. And so Honor 1000 sort of emerged out of those conversations. And it really has, I think, 3 goals. One of those goals is is a very practical goal, and that is to kind of ease your transition into the freshman year, help you navigate some basics of the university, understand the resources that are available to you in honors and outside honors, understand the program, start to think about planning. So it's a very pragmatic goal, and that also includes some psychological skills and concepts that help you kind of maintain well-being during your freshman year. The second big goal is to give you a place to think about the bigger picture of what an honors education is going to mean for you, how you want to think about the challenges and the opportunities that you have available to you, how you want to move among those, and to give you some space and some readings around those kind of bigger questions. And then the third is to really help you start developing an honors community. And to that end, the course will group you with a smaller group of individuals and pair you with a peer mentor who is a more advanced student in the honors college, to help you sort of begin making connections to one another, and also to older students who can help guide you through the program. And so I think it's going to be really, we enjoyed our first run last year, and this year we're really looking forward to seeing that class bloom and help you guys make those connections, both sort of identity related and practical and interpersonal. So, and I'm happy to look at questions in the chat about more specific pieces of the class. So.
Thank you, Manisha. Great. And yeah, the chat's lots of stuff there. We're answering those questions as we go along, but some of them I'm getting, I think are quite general, and I'm going to now ask Erin to address some of the advising questions. I did notice, Erin, that I got an advising question generally about whether if students are business scholars and honor students, how do they go about their advising? And that might be a question that students who are, already know they're in the engineering college, or they know they're in LEAP or something else as well. So maybe you could start out by addressing that one and then go from there.
Okay, yeah, great. So in order to enroll in courses after your orientation session, one of the first requirements is that you meet with the advisor for your major. So that would be the first person to talk to. So if you're a business scholars, you would need to talk to your major advisor in the School of Business before you're able to enroll in courses. We recommend that you meet with both your major advisor and your honors advisor, but technically you are not required to meet with your honors advisor before enrolling in courses. It's always a good practice to do so, but there's nothing that will prevent you from registering. And that's the case for all colleges across campus, not just business. So many of the questions that we received focused on advising were just very general, asking things like, how does honors work? What are the honors requirements? What are the mandatory honors courses? How does the honors curriculum fit into my schedule and my major? Could we get an overview of the classes for honors, and what are the general expectations for honors? So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here really quick. Most of you will cover, you probably haven't attended orientation yet, so this will be covered during your orientation session, but it's good to do a quick overview. So you'll get familiar with this course planner sheet that is an overview of the honors requirements. So as Dean Torty said earlier, you can earn an honors degree in any major, and really the requirements are pretty uniform across campus. There are some minor exceptions or different options that you might have in different majors, but to earn an honors degree, you have 4 core classes, which are made up of the 2 intellectual traditions classes, 1 honors writing course, 1 honors science, and 9 credits of electives, and a thesis in your major. So when you go through orientation, you're going to learn about general education and bachelor degree requirements. And you'll notice right here, like for example, the 2 intellectual traditions courses, it has this HF. That is representing that course satisfies the university's general education humanities requirement. And pretty much with very few exceptions, honors courses also are satisfying other requirements, whether they're general education requirements, bachelor degree requirements, major, minor requirements. Many honors courses do carry those sorts of designations. So another question that happened was asking about this Honor 3200 course and if that satisfies a requirement, and it does satisfy the university's upper division writing requirement. That's kind of a ways down the road. For most all first year students, the first course that's going to be probably the most popular for sure, is one of these intellectual traditions courses, because it's a core requirement and there are really no exceptions to that requirement. Everyone's going to need to do the intellectual tradition. So if you're wondering what's a good class to start with, intellectual traditions is a great class. Another question, can you complete honors while doing the bachelor's and master's program, the combined BS-MS, or these are termed a lot of different things, 4+1, BS-MS, or the combined 5-year program? The answer is yes. We see this very, very often. Basically what happens is at the end of your 4th year is when you would turn in your undergraduate thesis. That would be when you would complete basically all of your undergraduate work. And then in your 5th year, you'd be completing potentially a master's thesis, or at least just your master's coursework and project. And then when you complete that 5th year, you would earn both your honors degree for your bachelor's degree and your master's degree at the same time. Another question, are all the honors classes held in the Marriott honors community? Many of the honors classes are held in the MHC, but not all of them. There'll be a good number of courses held in the Callert Village, as well as in other spaces around campus, the Marriott Library and the Gardner Commons, and other spaces as well. How different will honors schedules be to our freshman peers? How many of our classes will be honors and how many of them will be non-honors? So this is going to vary from student to student, but in general, most students are taking 1 or 2 honors classes a semester. If you consider this planner that I'm sharing with you, you'll notice there's basically 7 courses and a thesis, and you'll be here for 8 semesters. So if you're progressing with 1 honors class a semester, then you're on pace to complete the honors degree on time. And can honors freshmen participate in research? Definitely answer to that is yes. It's not required, and probably most students won't be doing research as first semester students. You typically need a little bit of a foundation in your major before you would jump into doing research. But there are labs and opportunities across campus where you can jump in at a very basic level and get started. That would be something you would probably want to talk with your major advisor about if you have a lot of interest in getting involved in research in your major. So those are the main advising questions. And then I also had a group of questions related to orientation. A lot of people are asking, how do you start the process to register for classes? So the first step is you need to register for orientation. And I did put the link to sign up for orientation in the chat box. So that would be your first step, is to attend your orientation. And once you've completed orientation and met with your major advisor, then you will be able to enroll in courses. As part of that orientation process, you're prompted to meet with an honors advisor. And if you've already completed your orientation but haven't met with an honors advisor, I'm going to share with you in the chat box the link to setting up an appointment with an honors advisor. Some reason, let's see, technical difficulties here. I will send that out in just a moment. Another question, is Honors 1000 mandatory, and can I sign up for it now? The answer to that is once registration reopens on July 6th, you will be able to enroll in that course. If you have any trouble adding it, don't worry, it will be automatically added to your schedule later in the summer. And then the final question that was on my list is, can you guys go over the things that we should have already done and anything that maybe we should do by August 24th. And what I would say is attend orientation, read the book that's going to be coming your way, enroll in or make sure that you get enrolled in Honor 1000, and enroll in at least one other honors course. That's typically going to be an honors writing course or an intellectual traditions, but touch base with your advisor as part of orientation, and we'll make sure that you get into the right class.
Thank you, Aaron. Are you finished, Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just wanted to address one of the questions that came through the chat that I think is a common question and a really, really important one. And that was, can I take Honor 3200 writing in my first year? And technically, yes, but I want to speak a little more to writing because it's super important. Many of you will have come from high school having technically AP'd out of the lower level university writing requirement. I highly, highly recommend that regardless of whether you've tested out or not, that you take both lower level and upper level writing while you're at the university. And in addition to that, take any other courses you can that require you to write. Why is this? AP high school writing is not the equivalent of college level writing. So technically, yes, you might have it count, but no, it's not the same preparation. So we found over the years that students who just take 3200 come in at a huge disadvantage than students who have taken 2211 and then 3200 later. So I highly recommend everybody take 2211 in their first year or second year of college. If you are planning to go to law school or medical school, you need to take both your lower level and your upper level writing in college. Those med schools and law schools want to see both your lower level writing grade and your upper level writing grade. So in many respects, your competitiveness for graduate school will depend on you doing both. And then just finally, you know, writing is thinking and thinking is writing. And so it's one of the most important skills you can develop. And it's not like you learn to do it once and you do it. It's like practicing an instrument, and we can get better and better and better. And so I highly, highly recommend that everybody take both the lower and upper level writing. Okay. Any other questions? If folks have questions, feel free to, you know, I think unmute and ask or put it in the chat, and we will spend the next 20 minutes or so answering any additional questions that have come up. I see there's a question about Callert Hall construction. Will it complete given COVID? Yes, they've been working, and yes, it will be opened.
It's ready, it's habitable now. It met the goals. So no worries. We're in June and you could move in and not be damaged or hit on the head by construction workers right now.
A question of how does the honors timeline change if you need 5 years to graduate instead of 4? This is a specific question for you and your advisor. Certainly, if you have 5 years to do your undergraduate education, I'm a huge fan of the 5-year timeline because it allows you to take more courses that you're interested in, potentially double major, do study abroad, et cetera, et cetera. So it works just fine. You'll just have to sit down with an advisor. And again, in that Honor 1000 class, you will map out your specific path. I see here, okay, there was some confusion about the course requirements and when they'll be taken. You can spread those out over your 4 years. So those core required courses, the intellectual traditions, the writing, the science, and electives, you can take those at any time during your 4 years. Most students come in and take at least one course their first year. Many students, most of our students, I would say, take at least 2 courses their first year, one in the fall, one in the spring. But the timeline really depends on you and what works for your major. So there's a lot of flexibility in completing the honors degree. Question, is it possible to delay lab classes till better times? It will depend on your major. If you are a science major and you're an incoming science student, you probably don't have a lot of labs your first year. I mean, depending, chemistry has a number of them. They are working hard to try to figure out how to accommodate labs. And so just stay tuned. After July 6th, we'll know a lot more about how they've accommodated those things. But the university is putting a priority on experiential learning. So lab classes are getting high priority in terms of scheduling where and how. So we recognize that that's an integral part of your education. And I think we'll know more about, again, after the 6th. Oh, question, is it better to take a writing course or an intellectual traditions course your first semester? I don't know, Patricia, do you have an answer for that one? Or an opinion?
I have lots of opinions, but I think it really depends on how your schedule works. I think that both can be helpful. You do a lot of writing in intellectual traditions. So, you know, I think either one, just depending on what you're interested in, because the intellectual traditions, we have a lot of thematic possibilities. So if there's something that you're dying to take the one on revolutions or something else, and then wait to do writing second semester. But definitely try to do one of each your first year, is what I would say.
Great. Agreed. Other questions? Question about ecology and legacy. Is that something you can do your sophomore year? Yes, it is, but you'll want to plan for that. So as part of ecology and legacy, you will be completing your intellectual tradition, your writing, and your science. So you will then want to not take those your first year. So if you're interested in doing ecology and legacy and it makes more sense for you to do it your sophomore year, absolutely that's possible, and talk that over with your advisor, who will probably then put you in touch with Sarah Dyer, who is the ecology. In fact, maybe somebody could put Sarah Dyer's email into the chat here, and she can actually talk with you about that and help plan for it. So Sarah Dyer is the honors manager, program manager, who is in charge of ecology and legacy. Question about how will we know what intellectual traditions courses will be offered in the spring semester? Aaron, do you want to answer the what and when of that?
Yeah, so there will be a very similar set of what we call the classic IT, the time period based. So we'll have courses of antiquity, the medieval time period, the modern era, as well as the cross-cultural dialogue. And then we'll also have some different thematic courses. So in the fall, we have magic and technology and the revolutions thematic courses. In the spring, we'll have a different set of those. I can't necessarily tell you right now which those will be, because the fall or the spring schedule will come out in September. So you'll have a better sense in September, which is about 3-4 weeks before you would traditionally meet with your advisor to plan your spring schedule.
I'm talking muted. I'd say answer one enroll class. As you register for classes, you'll register just for the fall. And then as Aaron just said, you'll be registering for spring semester during the fall semester. Right, different than high school in that sense. I was just saying in the lull, in the pause, that the Honors College is a very happening place. Our students tend to get really involved across campus in leadership in the Benyon Center. There are lots and lots of activities, lots of events, There's the Honors Student Advisory Committee. So if you're interested in being part of the student voice that talks to students and helps us as folks running the Honors College understand it better, and some leadership roles in honors, please reach out to us with those interests. Really, you can think about the Honors College as your portal to getting engaged at the university. Okay, what is Bennion Scholars and how does it work? What do I need to do now to be on the right path? I mean, I can answer this. Jennifer, do you want to answer it? You probably, or Aaron?
I think if you're a Bennion Scholar, you do earn a designation. Then having the honors degree designation, the highest undergraduate degree conferred by the university is the honors degree. But lots of Bennion Scholars are also honors students. There are specific courses that you take as a Bennion Scholar. I think lots of people could chime in about worrying about being on the right pathway, but your first year, take it as a year of exploration. So if you were to try Bennion Scholars and it resonates with you, that's great. You could maybe even funnel some of that work into your honors thesis. If you try it and it's not for you, try something else, try lots of things. You'll see honors students represent our entire student government presidential board. They go Greek, they work, they do all kinds of things on campus and off campus. So there's not one way of doing it.
Question about summer courses. Yes, we do offer some summer courses. We typically offer a couple sections of intellectual traditions, a writing, a fine arts, gen ed, that, and a few other courses. So definitely we offer courses in the summer, and there are opportunities there. Who should you contact if you're interested in being part of the Student Advisory Committee? Who should we say? Dominic, send it to Dominic. Send your name, please, to Dominic, and then he will pass it on to us and we'll reach out to you when that committee convenes. I am seeing a number of questions about advisors, and you know, one of the things that you have available to you and you really ought to use are your honors advisors. So as an honor student, you really have kind of extra advising and attention, and your major advisor will know your major in and out and be able to talk about that. But your honors advisor will really be able to help you think about your undergraduate degree and time in its entirety. So all of the other things you'd like to do in addition to your major, including any minors or any internships, or you know, how you'll actually navigate the honors degree with your major. So you definitely want to meet both with your honors advisor and your degree advisor.
And I'll just say,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll just say one thing really quick. You'll find that during your time at the university, there are a lot of people with the title of advisor, and it's really difficult to find one person who can answer all of your questions that's actually an expert in all of those things. So it's really important that when you're asking a specific question that you're asking the right person. So, you know, your major advisor is probably going to be is going to definitely be the most knowledgeable person about your specific major. If you're wanting to go to medical school, there are pre-health advisors on campus who specialize in that pre-med process or the pre-law process, and you would want to talk to them about that specifically. And your honors advisors are here to help you really navigate the honors experience, the honors courses, and as Dean Torty said, how to kind of fill in the gaps and maximize your time at the university. And so, yeah, as I just mentioned, the Academic Advising Center on campus has a staff of four advisors who specifically work with pre-med, pre-dent, pre-pharmacy, all the pre-health professions, as well as pre-law.
And I'll just say that, you know, if you're feeling overwhelmed and there's just a lot of potential impossibilities and a lot of things you don't know, and you're not sure exactly how you're going to, make some of these decisions, I'll just say, don't worry. Sign up for your orientation, make an appointment with your honors advisor. Some of these questions will evolve over time, and you'll find answers to these questions over the next couple of months and into the fall as you do your coursework. It's common to feel like there's a lot you don't know when you're starting college, but it's also, this is what we're here for. The Honors College, the Honors Advisors, the university is here to help you answer those questions. So just be okay with the ambiguity for a little bit, and do reach out and ask us.
Yeah, and I guess I'll say one more thing, is if you don't know who the right person to ask the question to, if you have a question but you're not sure who to ask, your honors advisor is a great first place to start, because we are have a lot of general knowledge about how the university works, and we know the right people to connect you with. So if you're ever just not sure who to ask, just reach out to your honors advisor. And I guess there's a question here about a pre-law, pre-med major. And yeah, I think Jack, I think you are kind of on the right track here, kind of realizing that there is not a pre-med major or a pre-law major. For all of those health professions, for law school, you can major in anything you want, and do a few things along the way that you need to do to be preparing for admission to those graduate programs.
And I'll just say, we've had students go to med school who majored in art history. We've had students go to med school who majored in English. You'll need to, take the science curriculum that's required, but you don't have to major in a science. You'll have to do well on the MCAT. And again, you'll need to earn the honors degree and be able to write convincingly and passionately about your interest in medicine. The same is true for law school. Most law schools have a question on their entrance admissions application that will say, what was the title of your honors thesis and why was that interesting to you? So you can major really in anything you want and end up either in law school or medical school.
How many credits do honor students tend to take in their first semester? Right about 15, 15, 16 is a good spot to be. Much more than 16, you might be pushing it a little bit in your first semester. We always encourage you to, especially since many of you will be coming in with some college credits, to maybe err on the side of a little bit lighter in your first semester, do really well, and then you can always increase your credit loads each semester as you go along. But 15 is about right.
I will just echo everything Erin said and highly, highly discourage people from taking more than 15 or 16 credits, particularly their first year. I have seen many honor students come in, try to take 18 credits their first semester and have a really, really hard time. And there's no reason to do that to yourself. There's no hurry. It's not a sprint. It's the way, you're just starting college. Just take somewhere around 15 credits and you'll be happy you didn't take more.
I just want to add one thing to that, is that you should, if you're taking an intellectual traditions course, you need to be ready for a lot of reading and writing, and it may take more time than any classes that you had in high school. I don't know, but certainly more than any humanities class you had in high school. And also, you should not take 2 intellectual traditions courses at the same time, because there will be a lot of reading in both of them.
I see a question here about the best undergraduate path if I'm looking at eventually going into a combined MD MBA program. Again, you could really major in anything you wanted. If you want to go to medical school, you will need to have, the calculus and the chemistry and the biology courses and do well on the MCAT. But there's really no one single path. It's about choosing something that you're really interested in and then doing very well in it, and really finding your passion in that and succeeding, and then connecting to the larger world. As far as MD, MBA, there are lots and lots of medical doctors that get MBAs. Most of the MBA programs require you to be in the workforce for a couple of years before you can actually even apply for the MBA. So when you go to medical school, there will be various paths for you. There are paths for people doing MDs, PhDs at the same time. There are paths for people who are interested in doing the MD, MBA. And so those things will become apparent. You don't have to choose a specific path to make that happen for yourself. The acceptance rate, Jennifer, you, I think, have a general sense of this. I'll let you speak to it.
Sorry, I was typing my answer in. So honors students who apply to medical school, even in their first round of sending out applications, their acceptance rate is something like 30% plus higher than the general university. So for sure, your honors degree is very meaningful, and the research that you do through honors is very meaningful in getting accepted. And specific for med school, Erin and I have participated as practice interviewers for students who are practicing interviewing for medical school. And it's really like night and day. If you've had experiences that you can talk about and have real things to draw upon when you're talking about your motivation to be a doctor, those interviews are like a breeze and so pleasant. And then for people who maybe, you know, took all the right courses but didn't do anything beyond that, those were some more painful interviews to sit through, participate in.
Thanks, Jennifer. Erin, will you answer this question? Yeah. As a freshman, should I be planning multiple options in case the classes I want fill up?
So in my time at the university, I have not seen a lot of trouble with students getting their first semester schedules. I'm not sure how COVID-19 is going to impact the scheduling across campus, but yeah, I think it's always a good idea to have kind of some backup courses, if you will. But in general, if you are enrolling in courses earlier in the summer if your orientation is earlier in the summer, you probably won't have much trouble. But even for students who are enrolling later, even into August, usually we're able to get you. So for example, maybe we can't get you into the specific intellectual traditions instructor that you want, but we can get you into an intellectual traditions course. So it's usually less of a matter of getting the actual courses that you need. Sometimes you might have to take a day and time that you otherwise wouldn't really be your first choice, but we can usually get you a pretty nice schedule in your first semester.
Okay, well, we are just about out of time. I hope this has been useful. I thank you all for participating. This is the beginning of our getting to know one another, so please do reach out to us if you have any additional questions or questions pop up in the coming days. Erin, Dominic, others on the honors website, you can just email us and we will go about finding you answers to your questions. And I want to just wish you all the best for the rest of summer, and enjoy reading the book, and also be careful, use your face masks, wash your hands. Let's stop the spread of this crazy, awful, invisible virus. And I look forward to seeing you all in the fall. And with that, I will sign off. I do see that there are a couple more questions coming through, and we will be posting this again on the honors website.
I'll answer this question really quick about the Honor 1000, because it came up a couple times and I tried to address it in the chat. But so Honor 1000 is a hybrid course. It's primarily online, so it won't conflict with any of your courses in the registration system. It'll appear as an online course. But as part of the class, you will have a peer mentor, which is an upper division student, a junior or senior student, who will be meeting with you in small groups that you will arrange together as a group when all of you are able to meet. So that'll really just become dependent on your group's schedule when you will meet together. So I hope that's clear.
That's great. Thank you, Erin. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Monisha, Patricia, Jennifer, Dominic, Amber, everybody, and we'll see you soon.